So, a lot of people have been asking me to review Delete Laws videos, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, I am not going to. They're all hour plus long live streams. If someone wants to really focus me in on some specific subject that he touches, sure, maybe. But I'm not going to watch an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of some idiot rambling on about shit he doesn't know about just so I could break it down for you guys. Now, that said, I did just see a short video posted by Van Balian where Delete Laws made some claims, and I just want to put those claims into context for you. He says he studied the Constitution for 20 years. What does that mean? He says he's read the Constitution. Congratulations. Back when I went to school, you read the Constitution as part of, I think, what was it, 7th grade social studies or something like that? Maybe 8th grade, I don't remember. It was somewhere in junior high. That cow's pooping. Congratulations. You just watched a cow poop on video. So, yeah, like, who cares? And he's read the Federalist Papers. Now, the Federalist Papers, while they're great opinion pieces written by America's founders, they are just opinion pieces, and they don't have any legal weight or bearing. They're opinions. They are the opinions of the people who wrote them, and that is it. And the people who wrote them weren't judges, or at least they weren't acting in their role as judges, and so their opinions carry zero weight. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your particular view of the situation. And, great, your view is your view. And the people who wrote the Federalist Papers, James Madison, gosh, I can't remember. Who's the guy who wrote the actual Constitution? God, why am I drawing a blank on that? Thomas Jefferson, thank you. So, some really brilliant people wrote them, and that's great. But they're just opinions. So he studied the Constitution for 20 years. He's read the Constitution. Congratulations. If you'd studied it for 20 years, one would assume you've read it. And he's read the Federalist Papers, which have absolutely no bearing on anything. So really his claim boils down to he studied the Constitution for 20 years. It's, depending on the type font and everything like that, it's a couple pages long, 20 years? Sure. I mean, if you're slow about it, whatever. Anyway, let's put this into context though, Hey, I'm an expert on dentistry because I've studied dentistry for 20 years. Oh, well, that's awesome. Where'd you go to school for dentistry? Oh, I didn't go to school. Oh, okay. But you're licensed to practice dentistry, right? No, I'm not. So you studied dentistry for 20 years. You're not licensed. You haven't gone to school for it. You don't have any degrees or anything like that. You've just like what makes you an expert on dentistry? Well, I read the backs of toothpaste tubes a lot. So that makes me an expert on dentistry. Literally, that's what he's trying to sell. That is his claim. So in most professions where there is a serious risk of harm to people for having charlatans practice in the field, like dentistry, like being a doctor or a nurse or being an attorney, you can do a lot of damage to someone as an attorney if you represent them poorly. Like if you fail to file their claim within the statute of limitations or whatever, you could really do some serious damage to people. Or if you're incompetent and you get your client convicted when they should have been found guilty because they were when you get them convicted, they should have been found not guilty because they were actually innocent of what they've been charged with. You can do a lot of really serious damage. So the state, in its benevolent wisdom or whatever, has decided to regulate the practice of these particular professions. What that means is you have to show a basic level of competence in order to be admitted to practice law, to practice dentistry, to practice nursing, to be a medical doctor. You have to show a basic level of competence. Now, Delete Laws has shown none of this. He's shown none of the basic level of competence. And yet he wants us to accept that based on his assertion that he's studied the Constitution for 20 years, that he's something of an expert. I don't particularly buy it. Now, admittedly, I haven't watched any of his live streams other than the one 10-minute stream where he was interviewing some lady that Van Balen put up. But he wasn't very convincing in that. I mean, apparently his version of I'm not going to call it practicing law. I don't want to accuse him of practicing law, but his version of getting to the truth of the matter is to interview the defendants and get the defendant's side of a story, and then from that automatically assume that everything the defendants say is true and credible, and that the police are always not to be believed. And I understand. I don't believe the police either. But I think it is a mistake to assume that everybody doesn't believe the police. And I also think it's a mistake to believe that the police are always lying. They do lie. They will lie to you. They're less likely to lie on the stand. Less likely to lie on the stand. Okay? Can we agree on that? So, just interviewing one side of a two-sided story, not going into any of the actual evidence, the police reports, the video cams, the video evidence, the witness statements, the victim's statement. What Delete Laws seems to be forgetting is that usually in a crime there is a victim, usually. And maybe the victim has something to say about it. Maybe the victim has a narrative that completely contradicts the narrative of the accused defendant. So normally what happens in law is that you have a prosecutor who attempts to convict the defendant, and you have a defense attorney who attempts to exonerate the defendant. And what the hopeful outcome is that the party with the best argument, the party with the facts most in their favor, the prosecutor will win if the defendant is guilty, and the defense attorney will win if the defendant is innocent. That's the hope, the dream, the goal. And, admittedly, we have a legal system, not a justice system, but what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? The problem with Delete Laws and most of these other idiots out there prancing around trying to change things through the court systems is they don't realize that they're taking on the wrong end of the animal. You take on the bull by the horns. If you don't like a law, you try to change the law. You introduce a bill, you get somebody to introduce a bill to get the law changed. Laws are amended and changed all the time. Call your state legislators. Call the governor. Call somebody. Start a political action committee. Get lots of money. Buy a legislator. Buy a governor. I mean, that's how things get changed. But trying to change things from the wrong end isn't going to get you very far. The judge has to follow, is obligated to follow, is required to follow, will get overturned if he does not follow stare decisis. He has to make his decisions in accord with what the appellate courts and or the Supreme Courts, pick your jurisdiction, pick whichever court has the power to make him comply with it. But he's got to make his rulings in accord with what higher courts have decided the law is and what the law means. He has to. He doesn't get a choice in the matter. And so trying to attack some trial judge, I mean, if the trial judge is getting overturned all the time, have someone run against him. I mean, most trial judges are elected positions. I mean, check your local laws, check your state laws. But most judges are elected. So have someone else who's qualified to run for judge run against him. Say this particular judge is performing like crap and he's getting appealed all the time and he's losing on his appeals. Why not? Why not do that instead of interviewing defendants like it's going to do something? Oh, the police are bad. Congratulations. Now what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Anyway, I guess I'm done ranting. There's a little jackrabbit running all the way out there. I don't know if you can see him. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.